Tonight on OpenLine, we are talking about the sound of Music City across several genres and how Black artists have contributed to that in a big way. I'll introduce you to my guests once again. We have Lorenzo Washington from the Jefferson Street Sound Museum and also Katie Rainge-Briggs from the National Museum of African American Music. Thank you all both for joining us.
Thank you.
The lines are lit up today, so we're going to jump right to it. We have Mike on the line. Hi, Mike.
Hey, good evening, Carrie, and good evening to your guests, both of them. But most props to Mr. Lorenzo Washington. I would feel disrespectful for calling him anything less than Mr. Lorenzo Washington. Mr. Washington, I grew up, well, my aunt grew up on Hyman Street. So she literally lived 2 blocks from when they were building I-40. And so I remember Oldman Construction Company, if I'm not mistaken, was the construction company who built and tore up all of that. But basically, I'm going to bring it back to music. My cousin is Freddie Waters Jr.
Oh, yeah.
And if anybody knows about Freddie Waters Jr., he was our version of, I would say, Marvin Gaye back in the day. Him, Jimmy Church, I'm going to bring up. I'm going to also bring up XLO Records. Might ring a bell with you, Bobby Hebb.
Right.
And my relative is Gilly Baby from WVOL back in the day that used to play all that good music.
He was one of the.
I just want you to touch on some of those names I just brought out. And like, once again, it's not about who you play for. It's about who you haven't played for. Would be the easier way for you to answer a lot of questions. And once again, you are a true legend, not only to Nashville, but the world globally. And thank you for your great music. And have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, one of my favorite celebrities in this town was Gilly Baby, Clarence Kilcrease. He was the oldest living DJ still with us. And I have a lot of respect for that guy, and I danced to the music that he played on WVOL many times, many times. Fred Waters was one of the greatest artists that came through Nashville. Yeah, he was with Jimmy Church for a lot of years, but that guy could hold his own without any help. He was a great artist, but that guy could dance too. Fred could dance. He was a full-fledged artist. He could do it all, and he could write a little, you know. And he worked with Ted Jarrett for a while. Ted Jarrett was the producer around here and writer. He wrote for a number of local artists and musicians around here in Nashville. And but Fred Waters, man, you can't say too much about that guy.
Very neat. All right, let's go to Miss Deirdre. Deirdre, thank you for your patience. Go ahead. Deirdre, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead. Sometimes it helps if you turn down your TV and just listen to the phone.
Hi, yes. Thank you all for airing this. I am. Can you hear me?
We can. We got you loud and clear.
All right. I want to thank you all for airing this. Okay.
Deirdre, are you with us?
Am I on, or
yes.
is it someone else?
No, you are on. Make sure that you turn down your television and just listen to your phone, because there is a delay.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for airing this. I have a little bit of a question and a comment.
Okay.
I'd like to speak to the comment first. Just a few weeks ago, you know, News Channel 5, you all put on this Tighten Up song. And because the Titans were headed to the playoffs. And I actually wrote a letter into News Channel 5 about why were the Fifth Jubilee singers not included in that Tighten Up song? And my son, of course, said, well, no one wants to hear gospel or Negro spirituals in a hype song. And I thought, oh, no, it could have been done very well it could have modulated into the other parts of the songs. So since the name of the segment is the history of African American music and its impact on Nashville, I'd like to ask Lorenzo and Katie their opinion of the 5th Jubilee Singers and our nickname Music City. Some say Queen Victoria has named us, or they must be from a city of music. What do you feel their impact, the 5th Jubilee Singers, their impact on Music City's music, or just the impact on Nashville?
Okay, great question. Thank you, Deirdre. I'm going to hang up so you can listen to your TV. That's the easier way to do it now, so you can hear the answer. Katie, I'd like you to start there, because I know the 5th Jubilee Singers are featured in the museum.
Yes. And to think about the history of Nashville and the history of this country, the 5th Jubilee Singers become a great primary source. That these young people, a generation after enslavement, in the founding of FISC, decided, I'm going to use this talent to build my education and this institution, and travel around the country and the world to really expose the world to African American culture and their academic talents. So I appreciate the caller discussing that and how its role in Music City, that their performances were so moving that dignitaries would say, you must come from Music City, and that is how Nashville would have its name, Music City. And then especially since Nashville is a city that is so central to the country in geography, it lends itself to telling that story, that American history story. And it also allows artists to come through and experience one another and build that narrative, which is what FISC did, sending forth these young people to the world and telling their story and the school story.
Yeah. Mr. Washington, as I'm told, I should be calling you. I appreciate that. Tell me, since FISC is right there on Jefferson Street, I want to hear your perspective on this.
Well, is one thing I can say as I kind of bounce off Katie. One of the main things that took place back in those 1800s is that the 5th Jubilee Singers went on the road to make money to actually help keep the school going and to build the school. You know, and in the mid-1800s, when they went to Europe and sang for Queen Victoria, they paid them, and they made a donation of about $40,000 in the 1800s. Now that was like a few million now, you know, and they went to Washington and sang for the president, and another 25 million. I mean, 100,000. So they were very instrumental in keeping the school going and to building the school, because before Fisk University got started on the road, you know, there was a fort up there. Fort Gilliam was up there where the school is now. And they were very helpful to the school because they let them hold classes in the fort. So they were very helpful. But to see that they were inspired enough to get out and to get on the road and to go around the world, expressing their talent in order to provide sources for learning for the rest of the students.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier about legacy, and that's what Fisk represents, because the Fisk Jubilee Singers still exist.
Yes.
Yeah. That these young people are still carrying on that mission.
And as vibrant as ever, just getting their first Grammy last year, celebrating the 150th anniversary. I mean, things are just building and building, even more so than probably anybody ever dreamed. It's just really amazing.
Yes.
I wonder if we can all shut our eyes just a little bit, and you can walk us through the Jefferson Street Sound Museum. What will people find there?
Well, all kind of little goodies in there. Stories. When I say goodies, I mean stories of artists and musicians that you'll never hardly ever hear from through any other media, because these artists and musicians, they weren't big names, but they were big-hearted people. They loved entertaining on Jefferson Street. They loved being in the clubs. They loved eating in the restaurants. They just loved that street. Everybody that walked, that stepped on Jefferson Street, that have relatives on Jefferson Street, has a story. All of these folk have a story, different stories. These stories from Jefferson Street is spread it all over the world because of the students that was in the colleges. So these stories, so don't just think Nashville and the blues and the music that was here on Jefferson Street back in the day is just sitting in my little museum. It's spread all over the world, all of these stories. So that's one thing that I've got to say.
Very good. We're going to take another quick break. I'd love to have more of your phone calls when we get back. The number is on the screen, 615-737+. Stay with us.